Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Absolute Game of Nerds. You may notice we are missing JP. He had something come up and had to go out of town. And so it is going to be me flying solo on the host side. But with me today, I have Joshua, aka Marvel Madness, on YouTube, on Instagram. Joshua, how's it going today?
Good. How's it going? Good to
Good.
be here, man.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on. Yeah, exactly. So, Joshua, as I was telling you before we got on, we always kind of start with our origin story of what got us into this hobby. Um, for those that don't know, Joshua is a huge Wolverine collector, but obviously we'll be able to elaborate upon that. Did it start as a kid? Where did the love first start? Obviously, you probably had a break somewhere in between and got back into it. Kind of give us that whole kind of tale.
Yeah, for sure. Is my audio okay? I didn't check to see if
Oh yeah, we hear you just fine.
Okay. So
Hear you just fine.
No, I guess what I would say is I was a Marvel card collector kid. Okay. So I collected little Marvel cards, obviously, like a lot of us in the 90s.
Yeah.
One of my bigger sets, I guess special sets, was 1994 Marvel Universe. Because that was the set that my younger brother joined in too, and so it was very special to me. My younger brother passed away a few years back, and so that to me was a very special set to me with the holograms, pulling the holograms. My dad purchased a box for each of us that year in 1994, and it was just a very special thing for us to open up a whole box and be able to pull holograms and all that stuff. But I collected the 1991, 92, 93. I collected all the different years. I don't know if I had any of the comic images. It was just more of the Marvel Universe series. I did at one point have a subscription to comics. I can't remember what you call it. I need to find. I actually need to find the original postage that I had on that would come with the comics. I actually have it, and it has my like original like address and all that stuff.
Nice. Yeah.
Spider-Man on it. So we'll have to bring that on in a future episode or something. But
yeah, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. And you mentioned that box that your dad bought each you and your brother. Well, also sorry to hear about your brother about that.
Yeah.
But your dad bought you both those boxes. So do you still have those original sets then with you?
Oh yeah, I have. I probably have a set and a half of that one, almost two sets. But no, I have the whole set. Suspended animations from the set, Power Blast from the set, and all the holograms. I have full set of that. I will probably never release that. Like I won't get rid of that set. Like I have that master set. I don't know if there was any promo stuff for it, but I just have the regular master set. So everything that's on the little card checklist.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right?
That's awesome. Yeah, I think almost everyone we've had on this show, and most people that kind of we talk to in this community, are all kind of these 90s kids that got into it back then. And I would say the single greatest influence that we hear from everybody are those Impel Marvel Universe cards, whether it be, 90 to 90, whatever, like it's somewhere in there. Like for me, the 91 set was the most influential. For you, like you said, 94. And I still have my 1990, 1991, 1992. They're actually in a binder right behind me. And it's like, there's no PSA 10s in there. And so like, there's not huge value there, but like, could I sell that? Probably, but like, it's not worth it. Like, it's more worth the nostalgia and the value sentimental it has to me.
And I didn't get into grading or anything like that until after COVID. I actually got back into cards just right after the COVID and then the boom with the cards. That's what kind of got me back into it, like a lot of us, back active, I guess, as you'd call it, right? Into the hobby. But I was a big 90s cartoon guy. So Fox Kids and all that stuff. So I watched X-Men. I sacrificed sleeping in on Saturday mornings, and I woke up at whatever 6:30 in the morning to start that first series X-Men, or I think there was Spider-Man on before that or something. It was so yeah, I was a big, huge cartoon guy too, on 90s, and there was a lot of nostalgic stuff that I grew up with, not just Marvel and all that stuff. I was a big into Mad Balls and big into Toxic Crusaders and big into Ninja Turtles was huge for me as well. So
Oh yeah, Ninja Turtles is big for me.
yep, yep. I mean, I was one of those kids that I played with my cousin. He was my best friend growing up. His name was DJ, and he loved Wolverine as well. So we both were just like obsessed with Wolverine. Wolverine, as far as his character and just his origin story and all that stuff too. So um it's pretty unique. I don't tell a lot of people this, and I probably haven't told a lot of people this. So I think with this story, I had heart surgery when I was a baby, like about 3 months old, and they corrected some valves and all that stuff. And I've been healing ever since. I constantly heal in my heart, and I've had some heart issues because of that. And it's kind of funny because I actually have died 19 times, because what it boils down to is, I don't know if you've heard of cardioversion before, but
Uh-uh.
they stop your heart with cardioversion and shock you to get you back into regular sinus rhythm, and it's called atrial fibrillation is what I have. And so I have medication that keeps me out of that AFib, but about 19 times I've been cardioverted. So when I say I'm like Wolverine, I kind of am, because I heal all the time. My heart is always healing, and I've had a similar surgery like Wolverine.
Wow. There
that
you go.
changed his life. So, and I'm short and I'm stocky and I'm hairy. So all of it together, not just even the obsessive kid part of Wolverine, but I definitely have some characteristics. And my mom is actually from Canada. So
Oh, there you go. So then my question would be, the love of Wolverine started as a child. So did that, when you got back into cards, was that equal love, or did the love grow, or
so here's kind of like the kind of start of it, right? Is I started in back in February of 2021, right? I actually watched, and I have to give credit to Spidey Hits, or Spidey Duo 9 at the time.
yeah.
And I actually was watching his channel with his brother Dustin, and they just did one little episode of like them like getting into their 90s cards, and I'm like, I have those 90s cards, I have those cards. And then they were talking about sales that were going on, like some like 1992 like Marvel Universe hologram sold for $10,000, and I'm like, what? Like, I didn't understand what was going on. And so his channel actually kind of made me get back into Marvel cards, and I started my own little channel, not even knowing Spidey was at like less than 500 subscribers then. Okay, guys.
Hmm.
Like, so just to let you know, I mean, his was more of a Marvel Legends channel, the little figures, than Marvel cards. But I actually started about the same time, with his Marvel card stuff, and I started my own channel, but I just kept it small, obviously, and people didn't know about it because it didn't blast off like Spidey and all that stuff. But what I was getting at is, with when I was collecting. So this is what I did. So sorry, I'm trying to think. The the grading aspect. Okay.
Yeah.
I started grading Marvel cards when all these prices were going really high on some of these cards, and I'm like, oh man, I got some of these cards, so let's grade them. So I sent in almost 50 PSA cards, right?
Oh, wow.
And then I sent another 25 after that when they announced that they were going to close down. So I had 75 cards that I was waiting for about 1 year. It was like a year and 3 months. But before I got those cards back, I went ahead and I graded 30 with BGS and 30 with SGC. I got my SGC ones back real quick, right? And I had some really good sales on those and all that stuff, right? Well, to answer the question about Wolverine, is I actually sent the hologram from my 90s when I was a kid. I sent that hologram and I expedited that one. So actually sent it in April and I got this one back in the end of May. So I got
Hmm.
it back like pretty quick because I expedited it and paid extra just to get that hologram. I think I paid like 75 to $100 to get that hologram quick, right?
Yeah.
And so got that hologram back and it was a PSA 9 of
Wow.
my, and it's a hologram of when I was a kid. So that right there is a very special card, and it was Wolverine, and it was my favorite hologram when I was one of my favorite holograms when I was a kid was that 90s hologram. The other one was 1993 X-Men Series 2 hologram, the
Hmm.
3D hologram of Wolverine busting out of metal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But no, that actually started probably the spark, but uh mind you, at that time, a new product was hitting shelves, and it was the X-Men metal, right?
Hmm.
And me and Spidey did a couple things together, pre the product launching. I did like a PowerPoint presentation on it. Like, it's funny because we both can watch that. Me and Spidey can both watch that, and we didn't know anything about like the set. Like, it seemed like after, like, we thought we knew stuff about it, but you watch that and we're very novice in that knowledge. It's pretty funny.
What two things I was gonna say since you brought up the grading, I think it's funny because I remember when like all of a sudden people started sending that 1990 set to
Yeah,
PSA, and
yeah,
like news started breaking like, oh, these PSA 10 cards are selling for a lot of money. I mean, there were some going for like $1,200 just for like the
yeah,
regular base cards.
for sure.
And I remember thinking, like, at that time, like the PSA 10 part didn't stick with me. It was just that the 90 MU set. I was like,
Yeah,
I got the whole set here.
yeah,
Like, are you kidding me?
yeah.
And you're just like, whoa, I got a cash cow. And then you start to like look into it. You're like, okay, PSA 10. What is I probably have PSA 10s. They've just been sitting there. Like, and then you like kind of research it. You're like, oh, damn, I don't even have a
So
PSA
just to
7
let you know,
probably.
all those cards that I did send, my PSA 10, uh, I guess, you know, what would you call percentage wise
Gem
of
rate.
that, of all those 90s cards that I sent, I might have got 6 out of the whole lot
Yeah.
PSA 10s. Like, some
I think
people
that's
were
actually pretty good for cards that have lasted like just like kind of
yeah,
good
yeah,
going.
and I would say that too. I opened a couple packs earlier on my channel that I sent off to grading as well. Like, I did a couple 1995 Marvel Metal cards,
Hmm.
and to this day that one I opened 4 packs, right? To this day, I pulled a Spider-Man gold blaster out of out of one of
Wow.
those packs. And but I got a PSA 9 on it when I did grade it. So
That's nice. Another kind of similar story to that. Since we talked about Ninja Turtles a little bit, so I listen to this like market podcast kind of daily. It's just a short little thing, and at the end of the podcast, they have this kind of like interesting fact. And one day I'm listening to it, and they're like, a copy of Ninja Turtles One, the comic book,
yeah.
which is from like the late '80s, like recently sold for $240,000, and it's like, and then that's all he's like. So if you find a copy of that comic book in your closet from when you were a kid, it could be worth. And it's like And at that point, I was back into comics. I was like, okay, guys, like you guys need to pump the brakes on that. Like, first off, it's got to be like a first print, and there's like 6 printings,
Yeah,
and it's got to be a 9.8. So it's just like that first print. First, there's only like 3,000 total print run,
correct.
only of which like 1,900 are like known to exist currently, and it's like there's like less than 39 or like 32 9.8. So it's like way. Like it's kind of the same kind of vibe here, right? It's like you got to kind of really understand what is worth that much. But yeah,
Yeah,
it got people back in and moving.
that's funny.
Um, yeah. So talk to me more about like the Wolverine
So
love, like it.
so another thing too is just pre that, right? When I was a kid, I actually pulled off the shelf, so it was off the rack. I don't know what you'd call that, a comic book rack. Like, it
Mhm.
was actually one of those spinning racks,
Yeah. I think
actual
that's the spinner rack.
literal
Yeah.
spinning rack of a comic, and I pulled the 75th issue of Wolverine, or no, the 100th issue of Wolverine, the holographic cover
Oh
that
yeah.
is the full adamantium claws getting ripped out type of thing, right? His
Yeah.
skeleton. So I pulled that right off the rack. I drug that everywhere I went from when I was 14, 15 years old. So I literally like took it like everywhere, and I think I left for 2 years one time for a mission trip when I was 19 to 21, and I left it in the attic and all that stuff with my mom and dad and all that stuff. But everywhere I moved, everywhere I went, I kept this thing between two hard pieces of paper, as well as another like cardboard thing that went over it. I don't know why I did that.
Huh.
I just wanted to keep it really like nice and pristine. I didn't know about grading though either. So this last year and a half ago, when I started, I did submit some comics through Valor Comics and Services, right? Our
Mhm.
buddy. And he actually told me, because Adam Kubert was signing, right?
Mhm.
So I was like, "Oh man, can we get Adam Kubert to sign this cover?" He's like, "Yeah, you can sign it, and you can submit it for his signing because he's doing it right now." I'm like, "Dude, awesome! I'm gonna submit this because it's very special to me." Well, I submitted it to him. He's like, "Dude, Josh, this isn't gonna get better than a 9. Like, it's probably gonna be like an 8.5, like maybe an 8." And I'm like, "Oh man." I'm like, "I don't care. Just go ahead and slab it. Get it graded and all that stuff. Get it signed by Adam. Just do that, do the deal and call it good." Came back a 9.4. I was
Ah.
so pumped when I got it back. I mean, it's not a 9.8 for sure, but I didn't care because it was like
Well,
pristine. It was from my childhood, and it was a Wolverine cover. So I would say some of these little earlier on things when I was a kid probably instilled in me some sort of tie to Wolverine. And so when you asked me the question of when it became Josh or Marvel Madness, the Wolverine character card collector, right? It probably wasn't until the first year from 2021 to 2022 I realized that that's the character that I always went towards. And
Mhm.
and I'm like, why am I and I asked myself, why am I collecting these sets when it doesn't give me as much joy as when I like look at a Wolverine card?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of probably the reason why I collect Wolverine now. And
So
it's
are you solely a Wolverine collector? Do you have any sub characters, or do you even collect sets at all anymore?
sets. I don't need to collect sets at all unless it's a cool insert set, and I'll collect them. Like the X-Men Metal, for instance. I collected the whole Planet Metal set, just the
Mhm.
base Planet Metal set. It was an insert set of that, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna go nuts and collect the whole purely periodic where there's like a one number to three, all
Yeah.
that stuff, right? And so I would say that I'm more of an insert collector if I want to collect inserts. I've always been that way, but I just kind of put together sets as I go. But I don't think I'm gonna be collecting the modern set cards at all.
Mm.
The only characters that I probably care to collect would be Spider Woman. That's
Okay.
my that's my second character, as well as Wolverine. And it used to be Venom, Wolverine, Spider Woman, Silver Surfer, and
Yeah.
Nightcrawler. I veered away from all of those other characters. Oh, and Psylocke was my girl as well. I still have a bunch of Psylocke cards, but I'm slowly but surely getting rid of those because here's the honest truth: is Spider Woman. I feel the classic suit Spider Woman, the red and yellow suit.
Yeah.
She just has amazing cards. If you've ever seen some of the cards that come out, a lot of them are really good. And so that's probably why I veer towards Spider Woman. She wasn't in this Marvel Masterpiece set, so I'm okay with that. But Wolverine was, so I'm still
Yeah.
working on that.
So I do want to get to that, but so first off, I want to talk when it comes to being a Wolverine character collector, what level would you say you're at? Now, how I would say like you could say like so for me, I'm a Silver Surfer collector, but I just kind of want to collect the Silver Surfer cards that I like have I like really like. I don't there are character collectors that as we've discussed before that they have to have every card that has your character on them, whether that be the front, the back, even some people even go to the words on the back, right? We've seen with like Fausto, for example. What level are you at when it comes to collecting Wolverine?
Um, Probably similar to you.
Okay.
Um, I don't collect every single card of Wolverine. There's no way I'm gonna own like 10,000 cards or
Yeah.
whatever that number's gonna be, right? Um, I just I do collect some that I like though. Like every once in a while, I'll see a card that I don't have, right? And I'll pick it up. Every once in a while, I'll pick up a card and then go through my cards and realize that, oh, now that's a duplicate because I've already picked that one up. But I don't need to collect every single card. I don't have every single card. But I would say that I'm in the top 10, probably.
Of Wolverine collectors.
Yeah, in the
Nice.
world. I would say in our community, I would probably be in the top 5 in our
All right.
community. But there's a lot of collectors we don't know out there and all that stuff. So that's why I'm saying I'd probably be in the at least top 10. So
Yeah. The difficult thing too with Wolverine collecting, what if you were someone that wants to collect all of them, is that Wolverine is one of the 4 or 5 characters that is in every set
yeah.
and every available insert and parallel or
Yep.
whatever has a Wolverine. So, we have this Marvel Masterpieces set. There's no Silver Surfer base card. There's a holofoil, and there's 3 versions of that, and then there's the BSG, which is Wolverine. You got the base card, all the color parallels, the
Correct.
holofoils, BSGs, the canvases, and so it's just like it'd be. I can't even imagine what it's like doing that to a character like that.
Well, and you got to realize that they've made sets that feature Wolverine almost every card, like
Yeah,
with the X-Men Flare Ultra Wolverine cards. And there was 3 different sets of the Wolverine comic images, on
hmm
that. And so I have some of those sets full out sets. There's a Jim Lee set that's numbered to up to can't remember. It's just Jim Lee's set 1 and 2 is
hmm
what they're called of the Wolverine set. But I specifically have those full sets because I purchased them. But I only like a few cards from there. So as far as like me being a big set collector, definitely not. Definitely not. And I probably couldn't be just because of the fact that I am a Wolverine collector, and it's hard for me to collect sometimes because of the high caliber,
yeah.
character I have.
Yep, exactly. So one question I do have in terms of a specific card, I think I may have asked you this on Instagram before, but I can't remember your answer. So a set to me that was hugely influential as well was 1992 Jim Lee X-Men Series 1. The probably top card that that set has would be the pack pulled Jim Lee auto for Wolverine. Do you have that card?
Yes.
Nice. Nice. Very nice. Is it graded or ungraded? I'm just curious.
It's graded currently PSA 7.
Nice. Yeah, there's on eBay right now. There's a CGC graded 6.5 and they have it listed for $1,300. And it's like that's just one of those cards like who cares about grade? You got it. Like
Well, that
and
I think that one's sold.
oh, did it sell? I just saw it like a couple days ago, so it did sell. Okay.
If it's still there, then
Well, I know it had like a timeline on it, and so like it expired, but then I got a notification on my email that said it because I was just watching it because I was curious, and it got reposted. So I don't
oh,
know.
okay. I'll have to
Um,
find out.
that is a set though where you know obviously Silver Surfer's not in that set, but that set meant so much to me. If there was a way at one point down the line somewhere that I can get one of those Jim Lee autos of any of the cards that it came
Oh,
on,
yeah, for sure.
I would be happy just because that set was like so, and I still have that set from my childhood. Like, and it's funny because it wasn't until we had Spidey Hits on this channel interviewing him, and he showed us that Wolverine that he has. That's the pack pulled, and I was like, dude, I pulled so many of those packs when I was a kid, and never did I even know that there was like a Jim Lee auto potentially in one of them until he showed me that. Obviously, 30 something years later. So
Okay. No, I was able to pick one of those up from my buddy, Scandal Cards and Comics.
oh, nice. Yeah, he's like a
And
big 90s card guy, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. He actually is probably one of the well, let's just say he's got a few of those autos.
Yeah, nice. So being in the, we'll say top 5 Wolverine collectors in, the community, we'll say, what would you say are some of your like top premier Wolverines in your collection? Like if the house is on fire, you save the kids, you save the family, you save the dog, you got one last trip to go and you got to grab, 5 Wolverine cards. What are we grabbing?
Um Probably the most expensive ones. Um I mean, I guess I don't want to ever talk about that because I don't want it to ever happen. But I would say that I have a 2015 Plural Marvel Retro Blue Wolverine, the Samurai Wolverine with his
Okay.
shirt off. I have that graded in a BGS 9. And that one is probably close to a $8,000 to $10,000 card.
I was gonna say, is that the same one that like recently was like listed on eBay at 90,000 and then the best offer of like 14,000 was accepted?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was specifically a 9.5. Mine's a 9.0, but there was two 9.0s. Or there was another 9.0 that they listed it for like 12,000 after that, and it still hasn't sold. But mine has like a better centering on it or something like that. I looked at the because they with BGS you got the subgrades, right?
Subgrades, yeah.
Yeah. So
Nice. Any other come top of mind in terms of what you'd want to save?
more cards to save. Sorry. So I have the 2019 Flair 30th anniversary. I've had multiple videos on that. I'm sure anybody who knows me, that's one of my favorite cards. It's got a silver background, silver foil, and it's got the comic background. So it's got a bunch of comics from the Golden Age and Silver Age comics
Okay.
of Spider-Man, of Hulk, of Iron Man. It's got like all those characters in the background, even Black Widow from the Silver Age. Um,
Mhm.
and so not a lot of people know about this card, but there's only one Marvel character on the set, and it's Wolverine. All the other characters are hockey players, Michael Jordan, Kevin Smith, a few of the X-File people, like Chasing Amy. There's a few different just Upper Deck series that they had, like Aliens 3. Like there's a few different ones out there, but the only Marvel card and the only character that they did was Wolverine. They
Huh.
did not do Spider-Man. They did Wolverine, and it was actually supposed to just be portray a 30-year anniversary of Upper Deck and all of their products, and that's what they were doing. So 2019 Flair actually held that card, and it was like an achievement card to get. And they actually did 101s with a redemption inside the pack. So if you got one of these redemptions, you got put in the lottery, and the lottery, there was only like 17 people that got the redemption cards that submitted them. And so there was 17 101s that were put out, and it did include Wolverine, and it went to some guy in Hawaii.
Got it. And of the one that you have, do you know any idea how many of those there are?
Yeah, 30. So it's numbered
Oh,
to
okay.
30.
Got it.
The whole set is 30 cards, numbered to 30, and
Oh, okay. Got it. Got it.
101. So there's technically only 31 cards of each card. One's a 101, and then the others are to 30. So
Wow. I gotta look that. I did never heard of that set. I'll have to look it up. I'll have to look
yeah,
up
it's
your
called the Triple Diamond Relic, 2019 Flair Triple Diamond Relic Wolverine, and it's got 3 manufactured diamonds in it. It's pretty cool.
Got it. All right. Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome.
Yeah. I did a whole video on it. You'll have to look.
I'll look it up. I'll definitely look
I'll
it up.
send you the link.
Yeah, I'm now curious to see this card.
Yeah.
So one thing I also wanted to ask you about. So obviously, Marvel Masterpieces came out. When this airs, it'll be a few weeks in. I know, have posted a couple you've started chasing down. What is your goal for 2022 Marvel Masterpieces when it comes to Wolverine?
So I already got one of the big cards. I got a what if, a cover variant already.
Okay.
So
Which is out of 50.
yeah, and I got that out of the way. I already have an orange. I already have a purple. The only one that eludes me right now is the base card, and it's just because I don't want to pay an astronomical price for the base. I'm hoping to pay like $200-300 for it at one point or another. And then go from there, So I'll just be smart about that. But I just actually shout out to Alonzo, right? Alonzo Collectibles. I got to pick up the Mirage card.
Oh, nice. Did you get that on the trade night recently?
Yeah, I did. So
nice.
I was able to do that. I traded him a Gold Sig Venom for it, and it's pretty comparable in value currently right now. So pretty happy about that.
Yeah. Do you have any ambitions for any of the 2 out of 10, like the autos for that card?
No, not really. I like autos. I mean, if one came up and it was a good price / trade type of thing, and I was able to do that, then I probably would. But myself, I'm just more of a kind of like a base rainbow type thing. I actually was only going to collect a couple cards, and then it just kind of turned into I got a couple good deals, I thought, at the time. And so I still have yet to see a price go underneath what I paid for some of my cards. So
Nice. Do you have I really like it may be my favorite Battle Spectrum gem is the Weapon X versus the Program card. Do you have that one?
I don't have a Battle Spectrum gem. I just have the Battle Spectrum, right?
Got it, to the base of that. You got it.
I believe I traded the Spidey versus Venom for it with our good friend Off-White Tim.
Got it.
But I did pick up a few of the ones. I am missing the hollow spotted one, which is
I can't ever tell the difference between any of those, to be perfectly
no,
honest.
you're good. I mean, it's the non-numbered one. I have the checkered one, the checkered parallel of it.
The checkerboard or whatever.
Yeah, the checkerboard. I have that Wolverine of it. See right here. but I don't have the spotted one that looks similar to this, but it's Wolverine. And I have a Spidey that I'll trade anybody for. Like,
There you go.
trade you straight up. But I did get a canvas card, which is really cool. I don't
Nice.
know if I'll collect the one I want is the red one, which is numbered to 125
Uh-huh.
on the canvas side. And maybe the blue, but that's
Is that
probably the most extreme I'd go.
is the
So
blue out of 49?
blue's out of 49, I think. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Got
Yeah.
it. So, are there older cards you're chasing of Wolverine?
Yes. Still.
What would some of those be?
Do I want to say?
Oh, yeah, if that's something you don't wanna that I get that. I've learned that in the card world, there's a lot of guys don't wanna reveal what they're
Do
chasing
I
for
want
fear
to
of.
say, being a Wolverine card
Yeah,
collector, do I want to say, 'cause the first time someone has it,
yeah.
just I'll just say this. If you have any Wolverine cards you don't think I have, just reach out to me.
Alright. Alright, that's a good answer, that's a good answer. Okay, so transitioning away from Wolverine for a little bit at least, I do wanna talk to you. So you went to San Diego Comic-Con recently.
I was able to go that and do that. That was a bucket list of mine, and
Yeah.
I was so happy to go, and I went with a couple buddies and all that stuff, and so I'm definitely pretty I was pretty stoked, and I had a great time, and I probably wanted to change that for anything. It was a great experience, and
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of the videos that you put out on them. I was loving it. It was making me jealous because it's definitely a bucket list item for me. So what I wanted to ask you, and it is a bit detailed here, but so I live up in Washington, and we have a couple, decently sized cons that do come up here. However, like I mean, unless you like are someone that you want to get everyone that's there's autograph, and so that requires you standing in lines for hours and things like that, you could go through the cons in Washington in less than a day, right? So there's
where do
like
you
no
live in Washington?
in the Seattle area.
Okay.
So like whether it be Emerald City Comic Con, Summer Con, like you don't necessarily need a 3-day pass, like unless, like I said, you want to wait for all the actor signatures and things like that.
I grew up in Spokane, Washington, right?
Yeah, yeah. I remember when we first talked, you told me that. Yeah.
All right.
Um, so I'm curious, like San Diego Comic Con, I think is obviously one that is way bigger.
Yeah.
And so it is one that you do want to go for multiple days. So what is like kind of give me like a rundown of like what were the days, like what were you doing, what was it looking like what's going on? Because again, I've only seen what's on video, so like I'm kind of curious to know like kind of what's the happenings going on through the days of Comic Con.
So I guess if I were to do it all over again, I'd approach it as this is like, okay, what really do I want there? The one big thing that we probably spent way too much time on and all that stuff was the Kith shoes, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Stayed in line for like a couple hours the first night, didn't even get in. And then the second day, we finally got in. But it was like way like we got in like on a whim. Like it was so lucky the way we got in because every single time you got in and you waited line, they stopped the line and they're like, "Oh, time's up. You have to come back in 2 more hours after we do this and that, and there can't be a line anymore." I'm like, what? And they just kept on. It was just this, it was a crap show the whole time. But anywho, I did have fun getting the Kith shoes with the Wolverine card, or
Oh,
not
it
the
just
Wolverine,
worked out. You did pull the
not
Wolverine
not
card?
the Wolverine card. I
Oh,
mean, with the Marvel card is what I
yeah.
meant.
So
I
actually,
pulled I pulled a Gambit and I traded Dustin Underwood, which is a
yeah,
Gambit
just
collector. And I traded him the Rogues, and then I sold the Rogues when I got home. And then I still have Storms. So
got it. So just so people are aware that are listening, so we have a lot of comic book watchers obviously here,
yeah,
and so they're not as in tune with the Kith. So Kith is a clothing company. They did a collaboration with Asics shoes
yep.
and the 1992 Jim Lee X-Men set where they made a shoe
Specifically
that was,
Marvel. Yep.
yeah, specifically
Marvel
Marvel. It was
Prologue.
color coded to each X-Men character that was
Yep.
involved. It was like 5 cards, and
Like
you
six cards plus the team card.
Yeah, and so you just randomly buy a shoe your size. You don't know what color you're gonna get. You don't know what card you're gonna get. It's just
Yeah,
kind of it's like honestly like opening a pack of cards. And
correct.
so you open it up, and there could be Wolverine, there could be Gambit, there could be Storm, whatever, and then the shoe that corresponds to that. And then some of them were numbered, some of them weren't, and so you know that's what
Yeah,
Josh was talking about when it comes
that's
to
right.
the kids.
Yeah, and it does actually. They did do a comic book uh, uh, for it as well. So they specifically Kith will have a comic. The comic book release was for that too. It was like a promo Kith promo type comic book. So there was a comic attached to it on that level. So
Got it, got it. What else? What else? Kind of like were you doing at Comic Con?
I was just kind of having fun, just soaking everything in. Like I actually was able to go to a couple booths that I enjoyed. J. Scott Campbell, I was able to get a card signed. It was on plexiglass, so it was pretty cool. It was one of those
Hmm.
Fresnels from the Ages set. He signed one of those, and he thought that was really cool. He even took a couple pictures personally himself for it. He's like, "Can I take a couple pictures of it?" And he wasn't taking pictures of people's stuff, but he wanted to take a picture of mine
There
to
you
maybe
go.
do in like a book later on or something like that for himself. I don't know. But it was quite fun, and I took his picture with him, and I actually met John Romita
Junior.
John Romita Jr. And that was pretty fun as well. But I met a lot of artists. I met this artist that's here locally that is some like she's Asian, but she came to country like 2 years ago. And she's just been busting her chops, it seems like, trying to make it. And but she goes to cons and she makes some pretty good stuff. And she hasn't done any Marvel cards, but she's got a lot of Marvel stuff she's done, and she's got good stuff. But she lives locally here. I'm going to meet up with her in September here in Salt Lake. There's the Fan X
Okay.
Comic Con expos that they're going to have. So I'm going to go there. The last 2 years, I've brought my son Lincoln, and I'm going to take him this year as well. So,
Nice. What all did you besides the shoes and the cards that came with it, what
yeah.
other things did you pick up at San Diego?
Yeah. So, I specifically kind of went for mainly the experience. There wasn't like specifically any. I mean, there was some autograph stuff that I wanted. I didn't get the cards I had set aside with Todd McFarlane, but I did meet Ian Gist, and had him sign a couple cards, which was quite fun, quite cool. And I met just a lot of artists that I didn't know that were way cool too, got their contact information. But as far as like there was a Marvel booth that was pretty cool where like this like they'd have all these shows and giveaways like every couple hours, and that was way cool. I got a couple Marvel promos. I actually bought what's called Marvel United, which is a card game. And I brought it home, and I I'm still trying to get used to trying to play with my kids. But I mainly bought it for my kids, and then I got some promos that basically I after the convention I sold and made all the money back that so I got it for free pretty much all the stuff. So it was pretty nice.
Nice. So you've mentioned your kids. I know in talking with you, obviously offline, you have 5 boys.
Yes.
Um, are all 5 or one of the 5, maybe Lincoln, like who's into are any of them into the hobby with you? Um,
So my boy Lincoln likes soccer. So I have actually purchased some soccer cards, and he's opened up the cello packs. He's pulled Messi's, he's pulled Ronaldo's. He's actually had a fun time with that. We have a couple Messi's that he has like some parallels, like one silver parallel, one regular card, and he wants to grade them. So we're gonna send them in for grading and all that stuff for him, and just kind of have fun that way. But that would be probably the only one that's probably in it that way. And as far as the Marvel goes, he likes Thor. He likes Carnage and Venom a little bit. And then my younger boy likes anything that I like too. And he'll every once in a while ask for little cards like a Venom card. He says, "Can I have a Venom card, Dad?" I'm gonna find him a Venom card and give it to him. And yeah, so
Got it. Yeah, I have 3 kids myself, and, the goal hopefully is that at least one of them gets into it, and it's something that we can
right.
do together and, you
Yeah.
know eventually pass that on. So I'm just curious. Yeah, that's cool though. Um, so moving on now, you have a show. I was actually just on it, as of now, this past Friday. It was a ton of fun.
Yep.
When did the show start? Like, how did it start?
So
What was
it's
your
funny
intention for
because
the show?
you're on the 38th episode. I
Oh,
will.
really?
That's what it shows, right? So I'm on the
Yeah, yeah.
39th episode this Friday.
Oh, look at that. That's funny.
So yeah. So as far as the Marvel Bros and Friends show, I actually started that just pre 2023 and 20 the end of 2022 with my boy Sin City Cards and Comics, Alex. And he is currently not with me anymore. But he started it with me, and then I just kept it going after he left, probably 2 months ago. He left. And then I just kept on having episodes, and I had some guest hosts, and Matt Fuller's helped me a couple times. We've had a couple artists on. And I now have gotten a new host, and it's going to be Michael from Cool Cards. He's not going to make every single week, but he said 2 or 3 weeks out of the month. And so the other 2 weeks or 1 week of the month, I'll probably do the artist show with an artist, or some other special guest. Like this week, I don't have him as a co-host, but I'm having a special guest, Matt Coombs, he's actually the first Avenger, *01 on
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Instagram, and he's a Captain America card collector. Similarly, like I am the Wolverine card collector, he collects Captain America, and I'm going to have him this week as my special guest. I might have a mystery co-host join us. Who knows? But I just try to make it kind of fun. We've always kind of tried to bring comics and cards and the MC movies into my show, just to talk about the whole facet of things. I think it's pretty important to include other people of in the hobby, whether they're in comics or whether they're in cards, because we're all really at heart, we're collectors, and
Yeah,
we love the Marvel art
yeah,
on
we're all
these
into the same thing.
pieces that we get. So, and I'm not a DC hater as well. I definitely love DC as well. I do care on the DC realm. So
So one of the things on your show I wanted to ask, you mentioned that you want to have artists on, and I saw recently you posted you booked Greg Capullo, correct? Was it Greg Capullo?
just recently,
I thought I saw you post, and I thought I even commented, be like, "Whoa, that's a huge get."
I
Did
had I had Tony Perna on.
I know I saw that episode, but I thought
Okay.
this was like for a
Okay.
future. Okay, maybe I'm making that up. I was like,
Well, I do have some pretty banging artists coming up that I have not mentioned.
okay,
Don't think I mentioned him, but I have reached out to him. So
okay, got it, got it. So how do you connect with the artists? Like, how do you go about that?
I just say, hey, you do great work. Good job. Like that's all I do is like I just compliment him first, start the conversation, right? And then once the conversation's been started and all that stuff, like, yeah, I'm a big Wolverine card collector. I collect these cards, and I love the art and all that stuff. And I've actually had artists on my channel. I don't know if you've thought about going on anybody's YouTube channel and just kind of telling people your backstory or if you'd be interested in. And I've gotten quite a bit of feedback on it, and there's some guests that I'll have that'll be pretty awesome. So
No, I think it's awesome to have insight from what it's like on that side of the equation when it comes to this hobby would be awesome.
yeah.
Um, yeah, because I have no insight into that world, so
Well, I never did anything career wise as an artist, but when I was a kid, I was pretty artistic. I'd like draw my girlfriends, I'd draw my like good buddies and all that stuff, and just little portrait drawings of them. And
was that your stick to get the girls? You're like that brooding guy in the corner, sketchy,
I
and
mean,
they're like,
a few of the girls, I'm like, hey,
what are
here
you
you go.
drawing?"
And
And then
they're
you
like,
show them,
oh,
and it's
this
them,
is
like,
good.
"Oh, look at them."
No, I never really used that angle. I didn't really have to. Had the good looks. Now the good looks are drifting away. Um, but no, I would say that um, with I lost my train of thought when you were talking about girls. So
You talk about you used to draw portraits of your
yeah.
girlfriend.
So I actually just recently, in a little bit, I've drawn some Marvel characters on sketch card, like my own card stock. I haven't made my own card stock yet, but that is one thing that I can probably do announce here too. I've announced it on my channel as well. I'm actually going to be doing my own sketch card stock,
Oh,
and it's
awesome.
gonna have Marvel Madness on the back. And I will get artists to do drawings and portraits and sketch cards for me, and we're gonna do it as giveaways.
Oh, that's
While
rad.
I have them on the channel, as guests, we'll do giveaways, or I'll just see if I can just send 5 to each artist that I've done stuff with, and just say, hey, would you draw on this? I want to do a giveaway and I'll give you a good shout out type of thing. So I think it's a great thing to get more people, educated on some of these artists that don't get the
Mhm.
credit they deserve sometimes. And I feel that it betters the artist in not just popularity, but it betters them in their career and helps them out. So
Yeah, no, I love that. That's great. I know because when Tony Perner was on, I watched that episode. He gave away a card. Was that on your stock? I can't remember. Was that
no, that
okay?
was on. I think that was on the Mental Con stock.
Okay.
Oh no, that was on MCCW stock.
Okay.
MCCW has some stock and Mental Con. I think Ash. I was on Dre. Had some Mental Con stock, I think.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, the ones he gave away were awesome. So
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
that
it was like I remember we auctioned off the Wolverine, and then we gave away,
was it Venom?
yeah, Venom. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing it being like, "You're giving that away? That is quite a giveaway."
Yeah, for sure. Well, he wanted to give away the Wolverine first. I'm like, "No, we're not giving that away. We're gonna auction that puppy." So
Yeah.
we were able to auction that. He made a bit of good, just a quick cash. So that was cool,
Yeah,
and
nice.
it's all for just kind of getting him. I mean, he's known in the community, Tony Perna, but at the same time, not really, because like people don't know him. They know his name, they know his cards are good, but they don't know him, and so that's why I like to have him on the channel, put the name to a face with a lot of people that are entering the hobby, because I know that there's new people every day. Like,
100%. And I'll tell you from someone that I got back into this hobby, a little over a year ago now, and it was starting with comics, and I didn't get back into cards as I shared on your show until about 5 months ago. Like I didn't know the name Tony Perna until I started kind of following the card guys like you and the rest, and so
yeah,
there's tons of those artists that I know nothing about, and so like yeah, I definitely look forward to seeing who you have on and seeing their stuff and whatnot. So I think that's great. Um, so you said on your show you also talk about MCU movies and things like that.
mhm.
You're a big Wolverine guy. How are you feeling about Hugh Jackman coming back? Like, And how do you think that plays for the future? What does that make you think about the future? Expand on that.
Well, as a guy that actually has owned at one point or another 5 of that Topps holo or that Topps autograph card. I've just picked things up here and there, and then I've sold a half of them, so I have 2 left. Um, I always kind of just had a feeling that Hugh Jackman would come back, even though everybody said, "Oh, he's not coming back." He said he's not coming back at all after, after Logan. And I always kind of in the back of my mind was like, they made him look really old in that, but he could come back. Like this is the multiverse, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like I always had a feeling he'd come back, and I wanted him to come back. And how I wanted him to come back is the way I believe they're portraying in the movie, because
Which is
the yellow suit,
okay. Yeah, yeah.
the yellow suit version of Wolverine with the cowl. Like they did a lot of the movie scenes that you can see out there, and there's no cowl on his face because I come to know that they're gonna CGI that cowl on
Oh,
his
they
face.
are.
Yeah,
Got it.
is
Okay, because
what I hear.
I've been waiting for like a photo to come out with the cowl on, but I didn't know that they were gonna CGI the face.
Because if you didn't know it already, Deadpool's cowl, a lot of the time they CGI'd to be able to do all the expressions that it does.
Oh, I
Um,
didn't know that. I didn't realize that at
yeah,
all.
yeah, his eyes and all that stuff were all CGI.
Yeah, and like the kind of gist I get for this Deadpool 3 movie is it's kind of like the Bill and Ted movie from the 90s where they kind of like traverse the multiverse as a duo of some kind. And um but like it's crazy, like you hear about all these characters they're bringing back into that movie, and I'm always at this point like, is there gonna be two, like, because now it's like, who's the latest, like Jennifer whatever Garner for Elektra, and it's just like,
Yeah, yeah.
like how is this all gonna fit together? So I just hope they don't go overboard with bringing the guy. Like I want, especially with how the MC movies, in my opinion, have just gone
Well,
kind of
and they're
crap.
talking. They already had. I don't know if it was a leak or whatever, but Ben Affleck, um, he's going to be some
Daredevil,
sort of variant of Daredevil,
yeah.
probably, right? And who knows if they're going to have, you know, a few versions of, um, Ryan Reynolds as when he did.
Oh, when he did that Deadpool with like the swords coming out of his
Yeah,
hands,
yeah,
kind of.
yeah, 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 some of that. But yeah, I mean, I'm all for bringing the MCU into any of the collecting sphere that I do for sure. And I'll be honest, a lot of people are like, "Ah, the MCU movies have nothing to do with sales or card sales." But I've seen some sales that it
Oh,
actually is
they, yeah,
because of
they
that.
absolutely have an
And
influence.
and that's the thing is, I mean, people are like, "Oh, that's speculation, that's spec, you don't know that, blah blah blah," right? Well, at the same time, there has been facts and there has been some cards adjusted from it, even if it's just minimal. I don't care. It has affected it. And all these movies, if they were flopping, I don't think these cards would be like keep on having the worth that it has without the MC doing what it's doing. I think that's a main drive of people is like, oh man, the Marvel MCU franchise is doing great. I mean, obviously, there's been some questionable Disney stuff uh, that has been out, but I think really the Deadpool and Hugh Jackman, and I always like to call it Wolverine and Deadpool, not Deadpool 3, but Wolverine and Deadpool. This Wolverine and Deadpool movie will, I feel, change the whole the whole experience of X-Men because it's just going to be opening up all the doors, and I think they're going to fix a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and
That's what,
I wanted to touch, like, talk about like movies and whatever influencing values, and yes, there are the kind of like spec stuff when it's like, Atuma is gonna be in the Black Panther Wakanda Forever movie, and so Fantastic Four 34 shoots up and then it crashes after the movie's over.
Yeah.
But that there is that, but then there's also like take Iron Man for instance. Like Iron Man has been a major Marvel character, but like when you compare to like what we grew up on in the 90s, like we weren't talking about Iron Man, we were talking about X-Men, we were talking about Spider-Man, we were talking about Fantastic Four,
Correct.
Avengers and Iron Man specifically were kind of like B tier characters, and now Iron Man is considered a essentially a forever A tier character for as well as that character has done in movies. And
Yeah.
so like it does definitely have an influence. So what I wanted to ask though, so like Hugh Jackman is now going to be doing this movie is going to make it 20 plus years of being Wolverine essentially, which is crazy.
Yeah.
He obviously can't do it forever, and there is a future of Wolverine to come in the MCU. So is this the only movie left that comes with Wolverine? Do you want him to see him in others? Like I actually have heard recently now he may be in Secret Wars. Like, do you want to see a new actor in this role? Like, what do you do you have any in mind? Like that kind of thing.
So before I knew Hugh Jackman was like for sure coming back, I mean, I was like, I had my picks. I know at one point they were talking about Daniel Radcliffe as Wolverine, and I'm like, no,
No, that's Harry
you're not
Potter,
gonna
right?
have freaking Harry Potter
Yeah,
as
no.
Wolverine. I'm sorry. Like, if that happened, I'd boycott Marvel or
Yeah.
something like that because it just didn't make sense to me. Now, one guy I thought they would use, but I didn't know because he might be a little like he's not as old as Hugh Jackman, but he's still like not the younger version of Wolverine. But Wolverine was never young. That's the
No,
thing,
yeah.
right? And so you don't have to bring in a young guy to be Wolverine because he was never really young. But I wanted the guy that plays in The Boys,
Okay. Which
and
character?
he's that one main character that wants to kill all the superhero guys. I don't know if you know what The Boys is.
I know what The Boys is. The only actor I know is
He also plays in the new Star Trek as the
oh,
McCoy guy, Dr. McCoy, right? Or Dr. Is it McCoy? Dr. The doctor guy. What's his
yeah, okay. I think I know you're talking about. I don't know his name though.
McCoy is like that's Beast, right? So it's not
Hank
McCoy.
McCoy. Hank McCoy is Beast.
Yeah, but it's something else like but he's the doctor guy that's in the Star Trek.
Okay.
And he actually looked like a really nice Wolverine because he's short. He's a short dude in real life and all that stuff. But
Yeah,
I would,
I'd say the name I've heard a lot is that Taron Egerton, and he too is kind of on that. It looks like to be that kind of that shorter, stockier
yeah,
side.
okay.
Um, so I think there's
But they
definitely
use
some
Hugh Jackman, I think, really well to be Wolverine, even though he's like 6 foot or over 6 feet. It doesn't matter. Like the way that they portray him, I'm okay with. Like
yeah.
a lot of other people are like, "Oh man, he's too skinny or too like in card." Sometimes I like this. I guess there's a big thing right now that this specifically doesn't look like Wolverine because he's too skinny, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And he looks too tall in that, like his physique. But I don't know. It's just the way that you are looking at the card. Because the way I look at the card, he's just short and stocky, and he's fast, and that's what this card portrays to me. But other people see differently, and so I think people will see what they want to see,
Hmm.
or get out of the movie what they really want to get out. I've never been someone that goes to a Marvel movie and leaves and say that's the most horrible movie you've ever seen. Um, I just have always loved the Wolverine, like all the MCU movies on everything, and all the X-Men movies that people say were a flop. I disagree. I love the X-Men movies.
Oh, I
So
mean, I think X-Men 1 and X-Men 2 and Days of Future Past are still some of the best
yeah,
Marvel movies that have been made. I love those movies.
yeah.
Um, yeah, and I think at the end of the day, like if they write the character right, the portrayal will be right, and you're gonna love it. Um, like they did with Deadpool, like they did with. I mean, that's why Hugh Jackman worked. Like they wrote him
Well,
right, and the portrayal was great. So
so so here's the funny thing, right? If you were to pick like that, where Ryan Reynolds does a great Deadpool. I can't picture a different Deadpool than Ryan Reynolds. I just can't. But that's similar to me and Wolverine. I can't picture anybody else but Hugh Jackman because of what I've seen him do and just the way that he does that character. He's funny in that.
Yeah.
In that. So him and Ryan Reynolds is just gonna be like, it's gonna be mind blowing for me, specifically. But I don't know. I don't see like Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man. I'm just bringing up a simple an example.
I do like the first two Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies still,
But I'm
though.
just saying I don't think he's funny. Like
Yeah.
I didn't think Spider-Man was that funny at all. Like it was like, okay, just getting in character and all that stuff. And like I could say on X-Men, like there was like jokes about Cyclops and all this stuff that was pretty funny. And then him wearing yellow tights. What do you prefer? Yellow tights, type of
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And it was just freaking hilarious. Like, and I just don't get that with some of the Spider-Mans. I mean, obviously Spider-Man is the local hero to a lot of kids and people because he's likable and anybody could be a high school kid and all that stuff, but not a lot of people probably can be Wolverine.
No, I would agree with that. I would agree with that for sure. Yeah, yeah. Spider-Man is definitely more relatable in that context, 100%.
But that's not why I like my character. Is it relatable? Well, I mean,
No, no, absolutely. My
what's funny
favorite
is
character
I'm
is
really relatable to Wolverine.
yeah,
Like I've mentioned a little bit. And so just me being always having a beard and just being hairy myself, that's just how it is. And I'm short. I'm below 5'9", so that's short, typically. So
yeah.
did we freeze? We there? Hello? Hello?
Oh yeah, there we are. Sorry, we froze for a second.
Oh, yeah, just for a second. Sorry.
Yeah, I was saying like, Silver Surfer is my favorite character, and there's no way I relate to Silver Surfer. I just, just from my childhood, I just
I mean,
loved
you
the
don't have
character.
any hair on
Well,
your
that's
head.
true. That is a good point.
Come on
That
now.
is a good point.
Give
Yeah, I
yourself a
actually,
little bit of credit there.
yeah, but I mean that when I was a child, I had hair.
No,
So
yeah.
yeah, yeah. I will say I'm actually closer to Wolverine that from like, I'm kind of like a hairy chested guy, that kind
Oh,
of
for
thing. So
sure.
like,
Nice.
I'm not the slick bodied surfer here, but I tell you, I've always told a story that the love of Surfer started going back to the cards. In fourth grade, when we started collecting these cards, my friend Jeremy, just as I got to school, handed me the 91 Silver Surfer by Art Adams. And I was like, oh man, this character's cool. And then I flipped it over and I saw the power ratings and I was just like blown away.
Oh.
And ever since then, he's been my favorite character. And Wolverine was actually, my probably my second favorite character growing up.
Yeah, and
Um,
I would agree that like with Wolverine versus Spider-Man, if you were to talk about those two setups, right? Um it's funny, you either like Wolverine, like you either like Spider-Man or you like Wolverine, but it's never usually the same unless you're a deep Wolverine collector. Like I'm gonna out Spidey, right? I truly believe he likes Wolverine more, but he won't
you
admit it.
you think Justin likes Spidey more?
No. I think he likes Wolverine more.
Oh, that's what I meant. You think?
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure.
Explain this to me.
Well, it was pre his whole like picking a character because at first he picked Spider-Man 2099. People don't know this, but he was
I
gonna
don't know.
go Spider-Man 2099. And then he totally went Spidey after that, right? Well, before that, I saw some things with his like daughters and all that stuff, and like the respect that they gave him and all that stuff. I saw that, and there was a Father's Day present, and the focal point of the Father's Day present seemed like Wolverine, and so I'm just like, I don't know if I'm buying this whole just you like Spidey because like I think he's truly a Wolverine, like he's a closet Wolverine collector. I think.
All right. Well, I know he's got that pack pull Jim Lee auto, so he's
Oh
got
no,
maybe got one.
yeah.
So maybe
No, he does have
maybe
that for sure.
So maybe he does have a closet full of Wolverine cards, and he just
I
the
always
name.
joke around. I always joke around to him, but in the end, he actually has. We've actually traded some higher end Wolverine cards for Spider-Man cards straight
Just
up.
straight up one across. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Obviously, there was just talk and all that stuff more on that, but specifically we've had some good trades. I don't trade a lot with people, but I've traded with Spidey. So.
Nice. Is there a reason you don't trade a lot? Just curious since you brought that up.
Yeah. People always downgrade my stuff. Like people, so like I'll have Wolverine stuff, right, available, and they're like, well, it's not Spider-Man, so I don't know what you're saying on that price. And, I'm just like,
yeah, I see what you mean. Downgrade yourself. Yeah, I
but
got
what's
you. Yeah.
funny is this: when I try to do the opposite and I have a Spider-Man card, I'm like, well, that's Spider-Man, so it's not equal to Wolverine according to the market and you guys. So it's not a 1-for-1, is it? Like it's funny the way that I see things sometimes, because on one point, I'm always seems like trading more to get less is how I look at it. It's like, well, this is a rare card. I'm like, yeah, I understand, because that's all I need are rarer cards, because I've picked up all the cheaper cards already, so I need rarer Wolverines. And so I'm always after that one rare Wolverine that they have, but they don't want like 2 or 3 or 5 different ones compiled together for that one. They want like over the moon, and then I get what I get. So I find it cheaper to just not trade and sell my stuff and then pick up the stuff I want.
Got it. Yeah. I'm in the similar vein when it comes. So I do a lot of comic book trading, and I've used the books I've had, and I'll trade a pile for something that's far more rare or valuable or whatever it is, because that's what I want to do, is kind of keep moving up the ladder when it comes to trades. So yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, I mean, did you happen to see? And yeah, we can wrap up here pretty. But like, did you happen to read that article that? So there's a guy, Pancake Analytics, who does a lot of analytics stuff. Did you read that
His name's
article?
Tom. He's friends of mine. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So like he put that thing, it was like the top 10 Marvel characters, and if I remember correctly, I thought it was pretty interesting because like I think it's undebatable that Spider-Man and Wolverine are 1 and 2, right? I think that's undebatable. And he was showing that Spider-Man, per his data, was number 1 more because of just the sheer number of sales that Spider-Man has, but on a per value per card average, him and Wolverine were essentially right on par with each other.
Sure, and probably Venom's right under that too.
Yeah, and Venom I think was 3 on the list if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So it was super interesting article.
Yeah, when you bring the whole price into things and all that stuff, it's kind of quite difficult sometimes to do trades, depending on what the set is, depending on what the cards are. I mean, I have some great cards that could actually be of value in specifically some PCs of those characters that I have, because I have picked up cards throughout the last 3 years or so that I just got at good prices, I thought, and they are today now double, triple, or quadrupled in price. And now that the market's leveling out, it might be even like only double, but it doesn't seem like it's gone below what I ever got for the card, which is nice to say, because a lot of people may not be in that same boat as I am. I mean, I could bring up vibranium as a swear word right now, because a lot of people didn't like vibranium, but like it's one of my favorite sets. So vibranium has these inserts that I just love, the cracked ice. And what's funny is they have the cracked ice, they have the mosaics, and we're seeing something similar in the new sets. These are mosaic cards, right? And that's similar to the radiance that vibranium has, and the cracked ice could be similar to the Prism cracked ice, as we could see in this last annual set that they had. So like you're seeing these inserts that were in vibranium, and they were the very first numbered parallel set with these type of inserts. Vibranium was the first numbered insert with these type of inserts. There was inserts in the 90s that had cracked ice and all that stuff, but vibranium was the very first set. So you tell me if that has any value to any of this stuff. So it's funny because some people will crap on vibranium because the logo is too big, or it's just not the set for them and all that stuff. And it was a lower end set to begin with. But for me, it's always been one of my favorite sets.
I don't know. So again, being a Silver Surfer collector, I've just gotten back into cards, so he had obviously the
Silver
big
Surfer
band.
wasn't in vibranium. So.
Yeah, and so like I've only been learning about sets that he's been in, because that has the cards I want. So that'll be another set. That's why I actually really enjoyed coming on your show last Friday when Michael broke that was it 94 or 95, the Flair Ultra
1996 Flair Ultra Wolverine.
Yeah, and it's like that set came out as a kid. I was already out of cards at that point.
Yeah.
And coming back in, because there's no Surfer there, I didn't know anything about it. And so that was super fun for me to learn about. So I'll have to look up that set as well. So I'll just say last question here then, like Marvel Masterpieces just came out. Are there any sets coming out that you know of that you're really looking forward to?
Flair Ultra Wolverine.
Nice. And when is that coming out?
It'll probably come out next year, or if it doesn't come out next year, the year after, but I'm thinking it will come out next year.
Will a box of that cost similar to Marvel Masterpieces?
Probably similar to Flair Ultra Avengers, I'm thinking.
And what was that price point?
Probably 300-400.
Okay. So like a little, like we'll say a tier below Marvel Masterpieces.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not a Flair Ultra has been a premium set, but it hasn't been the top premium sets. Like the top premium sets that you'll find, Marvel Masterpieces and Marvel Premiere, those are top sets. And Black Diamond. Black Diamond came out at a $400, $500, $600 range as well. So you're definitely going to find those higher tier, and I think there's a set coming out called Marvel Platinum.
Oh yeah, I've heard of it.
What's funny is Upper Deck is now saying, because of a lot of certain other collectors that have mentioned this, stating that it's going to be vibranium done right.
Ah, all right.
And the reason that they're saying vibranium done right is because it will be an all chrome set. Okay. Mm-hmm. So like vibranium, it's going to be chrome, like Topps chrome. But it's going to be done right, meaning they may not have the logo that be that big and all that stuff. And the platinum is just going to look more clean than maybe some of the vibranium logo haters out there.
Got it. And again, it already slipped my mind that it was Flair Ultra X-Men. You said is the set you're looking forward to?
Wolverine.
Flair Ultra Wolverine. Got it. Okay.
So the set that you just were a part of this last.
So this is like the new version of that.
This is the brand new version of that, right?
Do we know who the artist is for that?
There's going to be about probably a few artists kind of similar to Flair Ultra Avengers. So it is going to be original artists. Okay. Mm-hmm. They've probably already been picked, and they've already done a lot of the art on the cards already. They're just putting it all together probably now, because there was a release of some of the sketch cards. I actually have 2 blanks that I picked up of Flair Ultra Wolverine on eBay. So.
All right. Well, I will look out for that and do a little research, obviously, ahead of time. But Joshua, thanks for coming on. This was a ton of fun getting to know you better, and spending this last hour and a half with you, getting to know you. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate you, buddy, and I want to thank you for what you do in the community and kind of bringing Marvel cards and comics together. It's one of
Yeah.
my main goals as someone that loves Marvel cards, but also loves my comics too. I have a lot of Wolverine comics that
Yeah.
I have in my collection, and I'll probably
Yeah, I
keep
mean,
on
I'll just say,
getting.
like, you said it right. Like, it's funny because you'll have people like, "Oh, I'm just cards. I'm not into comics," or "I'm just into comics. I'm into cards." And it's like, at the end of the day, like you said earlier, we're all fans of this Marvel art. Just what difference is it? What stock it's on? Whether it's like a comic book, like so. Like, I think I have loved to getting into cards these last few months because I think it just goes so well as a complement to each other. It's
Yeah,
fun to do both.
yeah,
Not that you have to do both, but like for anyone that it's great. It's there. Don't shy away to look into it.
yep. Totally agree, buddy. Totally
Yeah.
agree.
All right. Well, everyone, thanks for watching. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you on the next one. Peace out. Oop, did we end? Oh, there we go.